It's Sarah,
I'm Ryan.
and you're watching another ExJW channel.
Welcome back.
Yeah, so it's been a couple weeks since we've put out a video, and so we thought that we would kind of continue our story and let you know what the family dynamic is now with our JW family. Well, Ryan started fading for real in 2013.
The end of 2013.
The end of 2013.
Yeah.
But he was able to kind of still communicate with his JW family. It was.
So leading up to that, I'll explain. We had a family worship night where my mom and stepdad would invite me and the kids only to their house, and we'd have dinner, and then we'd go over some sort of brochure or some JW material. Okay, let's just put it that way. Our kids were small at that time, very small, and they were learning how to read. It was kind of fun. They made it fun, and but it got to be a pain for me because they were being indoctrinated, and I didn't like it.
Well, the more that you learned about the truth about the truth.
Right, I was waking up.
You saw what was going on. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it was her attempt to kind of keep me in, and I was having a conflict of interest at that time, and this was leading up to my waking up, and I was having some in-depth discussions with my mom. Stepdad didn't get too much involved, he's basically it's just been me and my mom, because stepdad came into the picture and he's never really been fully engaged, I should say, but he was the head of the household, so there's that. But for instance, I still call him my stepdad. He's not my dad, so there's that dynamic. But they're both they both attend, and my mom's very devout to this day. So at the time when I stopped going to meetings, I had not stopped going over there for the family worship. It wasn't till a short time after that, maybe about a month or so, where I put the stop to that, because I had the idea that I was gonna display my points to my mom, maybe score some points or get her to somewhat reason with me and why I was making this decision. And let me tell you, maybe I don't have to tell you, there's no reasoning with Jehovah's Witnesses at all. So it didn't go nowhere. It just led to further separation, so to speak. Things got weird. They did.
Yeah.
Because no longer is it a kind association. Well, we eat a meal and then we'll look into a publication. There's that barrier now between us. And that's kind of what's led me over time to kind of, well, I don't care, simply due to the fact that every time I have a conversation or try to have a conversation with my mom about some current event or topic, and try to sway it over to a reason why the witnesses have it wrong, it goes nowhere. It doesn't get hit in a brick wall, and and also it seems like she can bring up an event or something and sway it toward the witness way, and of course that's gonna hit a brick wall with me. So we're like butting heads, and it's kind of how I feel that our relationship is very strained now. It's just different. It's not as good. It's conditional. There's no love there, and that's why it's kind of moved me to do this now and kind of tell my story and see if I can maybe resonate with anyone else out there, because this is what it's like. If you got family that have kind of cut you off or made it strained, then I know what you're going through.
Yes. So on my side, that's really difficult. So I don't know if you guys saw my kind of my story, but my mom and I were very, very close. Talked to her multiple times a day, but it was never a great relationship. Like Ryan would come home from work and he would see my face and he'd be like, uh-oh, something happened with your mom today. I mean, he just knew because I was totally deflated. So when I became disassociated, my mother still spoke to me because she was still very much on the fence herself about the organization. She was having some major doubts. So I'm not going to get into all of the things that happened, but she ended up moving in with my Jehovah's Witness sister and her husband and their 2 children. And so they moved kind of far away, about, what would you say, about an hour away, 45 minutes away or something like that.
And now they're out of state.
Yes. And so they moved in with them, and my sister's husband, he likes to imagine that he's very spiritual, but he's not. I don't think he's whole soul. That's just my opinion. But he has a brother that's an elder, and I think he tries to put up a good front for his brother.
What I would call maybe self-righteous.
Okay, you can call him that. Just a bit, just not a great situation there. But anyway, so my mom moved in with my sister, and they sort of like, I think, re-indoctrinated my mom. Don't you think?
Yeah.
And so now to this day, as far as I know, they don't like really attend meetings. They're very inactive, the whole family. But my sister's got a small child that has a lot of health problems, so she doesn't really get to, go to the meetings and things like that. But so long story short, my mom is now back to thinking that Jehovah's Witnesses, that's the true religion. And so we went back and forth over the years where we would talk, and I was a little bit too in her face. Like, I should have not been in her face so much about trying to prove my point. I should have just let her come to me. And I think I really burned that bridge. There was a time that I had a health scare and my mom found out about it and we started talking again, but it was very weird. Just like, almost like talking to a long lost like schoolmate. You know how you like catch up and then you just kind of never really speak to each other again, except you'll see like little posts or something. Well, we never became friends on Facebook because that couldn't happen. But I made up a fake profile on Facebook to talk to her. And even that was kept a secret in case someone found out about it. So she was ashamed to talk to me. She didn't want to be found out about that. That should have been my first clue, but I was just thrilled to have my mother in my life. And I just would here and there drop hints. I would let her see pictures of our children because she had not seen them in 3 or 4 years. But she just never acted like it was a priority in her life. And so I ended up telling her about the Australian Royal Commission, which I thought would affect her. But she came back with, well, if it doesn't affect my immediate family, I'm not interested in hearing about it. And that just really rattled me. But again, my mom knew about my sexual abuse and she never did anything about it. So I think in her opinion, like, she didn't want to get into that whole situation and talking to me about it because that's a very sore topic with us. Because she probably knows she should have done something about it and never did. My parents moved down south from where we live with my sister and her husband, and they live with them. But then there was a period of time where they moved back to our state to take care of my grandfather. And it was during that time that we kind of got reacquainted, and I thought for sure maybe we could meet and she could see the kids because it had been like 4 or 5 years since she had seen them. And then all of a sudden, like, I had heard through the grapevine that they had moved back down south. And I messaged her, I think I text messaged her, and I said, did you guys move back to live with this sister and her husband? And she said, yeah, we did that. And I said, well, we never got a chance to get together. I mean, it was a whole year that they were here and we never got together. That should have been an inclination to me, but I guess I was naive or something, or hopeful. And she's like, no, no, she said, we moved back. And then a few minutes later, she's like, who is this? So that right there was the straw that broke the camel's back, because she didn't even save my number in her phone, or she was trying to rattle my chain and make me feel like crap. And it did. It made me feel like absolute garbage that she didn't even save my number. She didn't even know who I was. So that was the last time I spoke with my mom, and that was February of 2019. And so I have not spoken to her since. And it's okay. Life is okay.
Yeah, it's very sad. And if you're not a Jehovah's Witnesses, we're talking about shunning. And this is a practice that's in the organization, that if somebody leaves, even though they're in your family, daughter, anyone, you're not to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they strictly adhere to that. And that's basically what you're going through now. I mean, they even apply some of that principle to me, because they have limited the association, even though I'm technically haven't disassociated myself. I have not been disfellowshipped yet. But they have treated me different. What they call marking, they have put a label on me, so to speak, that don't associate with him because he's no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And that's why I had the term, things got weird, because it's not the same as it normally was. And I'm thinking of that scripture, I don't know if you can help me, but where Jehovah says, even if your mother will turn against you, I will still love you. You remember the scripture I'm talking about?
The one I think of is the one where Jesus says mothers will turn against daughters and that, but that's not the one you're thinking of.
No, it's in Psalms or something.
Yeah, I'm real bad with my Bible now, guys. It's been a while.
Jehovah's talking, even if your mother will turn against you, I will never leave you, or something like that. And doesn't the Bible also say, become imitators of me, says Jehovah? So, I mean, we're talking about the family dynamic, mother-daughter, mother-son, that natural bond. Jehovah doesn't leave. Why would natural mother-daughter, mother-son leave? It's a strong bond. I'll tell you why. It's because 8 men in New York told them they have to.
Yeah.
And that's, are we supposed to obey man or obey God? God says, become imitators of me, but yet they don't want to do that. That's my feeling on it.
And that's not to say that, like, Ryan and I definitely regret the relationships, how they are with our parents. I mean, I went through years of misery losing my mom, but it was not a healthy relationship in the first place. And now that I've been away from that relationship, I can look at it and go, maybe it's for the best that we are no longer speaking, because a lot of stuff has happened over the years that, maybe this is all for the best. So those of you who are experiencing, shunning from your family, and it's new and raw, and you're mourning and grieving that relationship, that's normal. That's okay. Just know that maybe if it wasn't the best relationship, that the time apart might be a good thing. I know that could be hard to imagine. You can't imagine your life without your parents or your brother and sister, whatever it is. But I never thought I would ever say that it's okay that I'm not in the same place that I was with my mom, because it was not a healthy relationship. And I'm actually better for it now. And as for Ryan, you know, like him and his mom, she's a great lady. It's just she's a servant of Jehovah first and foremost.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's true. And people that's never been associated with Jehovah's Witnesses won't understand. But if you've been in, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That it's the indoctrination with the truth, or what we call it, the lie, because that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just very destructive. You've got your allegiances to them and them only, and they call it, you know, leaving Jehovah, and it's just couldn't be further from the truth. And if you have left, it's evil. It's an evil cult, is what it is. They treat you like crap, and it's unjustified. It's very destructive to families. It splits them up. And I don't know. That's all I can say.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we are now with, well, your story goes a little further than mine, because like I said, the last time I spoke to my mom was February of 2019, and I really don't see that relationship getting fixed. As long as she's still living with my sister and her husband and that whole dynamic, I just see that just laying there and not being ever repaired, which I guess is okay. But your mom still invites.
Yeah, there's still some contact from time to time. I believe she's still hopeful.
Oh yeah.
But it's different. There's no come over and I'm cooking breakfast, or like the old days, like it used to be. You know, there's just nothing like that anymore. There is still some contact, but like I said, if I bring up a point, there's no reasoning with her. You know, obviously I would want to tell her how I feel about things, but that's just not reciprocated. You know, there's no respect for that.
No.
She's not listening to anything I have to say if it's anything contradictory to what the organization's telling her.
And you can almost, and when you're talking to her, you can probably almost see the wheels turning, like she's not even listening. She's just trying to come up with her conversation stopper.
I'll give you an example of that. The last conversation I had with my mom, or one of the last, the point I was trying to make was, right now we're going through a worldwide pandemic today, and with today's modern medicine, it's contrary to what the witnesses teach, how things have gone from bad to worse and we're living in the worst time.
Right.
Well, you know, I would rather be living in today's time than 1818 when they had the last Spanish flu worldwide pandemic, where it's estimated that 50 to 100 million people have passed away. Today, we'll be lucky if, I mean, there might not even be 1 million people that pass away. The numbers are going to be way lower before we get a handle on this. We haven't got a handle on it yet, but I can pretty much guarantee you I would much rather be living in today's time than back in 1918, where they didn't have the advances in modern medicine, and you could possibly much likely lose your life.
Right. Like, you know, because we have respirators now, and there's things to help alleviate the pain of going through this pandemic, and we have science that teaches us that, you know, if we take certain steps, then our chances are going to be a lot better.
And her doctrination was so thick that didn't even register a note with her.
No.
So it's like, throw your hands up. What do you do? If there's any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. If you have enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you give us a like. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. That would help out the channel.
Yeah. We'll try to think of some other things to talk about. You know, we've been out for quite a while now, so the pain of being shunned and leaving everybody, it has subsided so much. And maybe that's a good thing for some of you who are newly considering leaving, or you've just found out the truth about the truth. Things are very upsetting right now, and you probably can hardly function because it's such a shock to the system, but we're proof that you can thrive, you can move on, you can heal. But, definitely take your time and don't just, you have to grieve. You have to sort through that you were lied to your whole time that you were a part of the organization. Don't just gloss over it and you got to work through that. So you might need some therapy. If you're having suicidal thoughts, definitely get help right away. Don't just let that take over, because once you leave the organization, there is an entire new world, and it's an amazing place to be able to find out who you were really meant to be before this organization took your life from you. So again, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and we will try to put out another video pretty soon. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys later.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.